All right, and we are back with another episode of Wrestling with Wi-Fi. So with that, we're going to get started.
The following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Ladies and gentlemen, weighing in at amazingly entertaining, I want to welcome to the ring the greatest, most technically sound podcast on the face of the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Wrestling with Wi-Fi. Tuning in right now.
And we do indeed hope you're tuning in. So again, back with yet another episode. I'm actually recording these back to back, and it's kind of funny. By the end of this, my voice might be a little bit cracky because I spent the better part of an hour talking to Jim Palmer this morning or this afternoon about WLPC for the official Ruckus corporate podcast. A little shameless plug for one of my other projects, and just recorded another episode, and I'm going to record this one and basically have a couple weeks in the bag already. I'm not going to number this one. This might be episode 7, or as I did last week, this could be episode 7 and then becomes episode 8 because something happens and I talk about it. So tonight, this is going to be a shorter one. This might wind up just being a little special bonus. I mentioned early on about getting back in the saddle, and part of it was about getting back to being healthy. I had a really good 2019, 2018 really too, 2018, 2019, and even 2020, pandemic be damned. I had some weight loss issues, right? Or some weight gain issues or weight issues. Let's just leave it at that. And so anybody that knows me probably knows a little bit about the story, and I'll give you a little recap, right? So 2017, I worked for an employer that has an interest in theme parks, and I went down for a QBR and a nice perk. I asked for a badge to get on the campus. I got a ticket to get in the theme park. And so one of my peers down there took me on a certain wizarding ride, which should tell you all you need to know, but I did not fit. And I was a little bit embarrassed. Actually, I was a lot embarrassed, but that's neither here nor there. And so I relayed the story to my wife, and so got really, I didn't know what to do, right? I was kind of frustrated. It was embarrassing, not healthy. And a perk of the job was that we would get free tickets, 4 free tickets, and I have a larger family. And it was like, well, they want to go see it, my kids do. And so we were talking coming home from a vacation, and my wife was like, well, if you want to go, if we want to take them, we'll buy the extra tickets or whatever. But you have to lose weight because I'm never going on those rides. They're not my thing. So okay, that was sort of the kick in my pants. And I changed a lot of things, right? And so I changed my diet, I changed my exercise, I changed a lot of things. And I'll admit, I didn't get serious about exercise right away. My initial, I'll say it out loud, I was close to 330 pounds, right? Not ashamed of it. It is what it is, and I think it's important to say it out loud. I was a bad eater. I was bad at a lot of things. I didn't do a lot of exercise. I had a sedentary lifestyle. I would sit at my desk during the day and, just not do as much, which is sad in a way because you think about Wi-Fi. We do a lot of surveys and a lot of walking around, and those were the kinds of things that got to me, right? Like I'm walking up the stairs in a building that has no elevators, 2 or 3 floors with my boss, and I can't keep up. And I'm winded when we get to the top, and it's not good. At that point I was, I think late 30s, early 40s, whatever. And so it was just, I knew it was time for a change. And so, I looked at what I was eating, and I was like, well, let's do like a calorie counting kick, let's just do a true diet. And, I did a lot of things in the course of the weight loss. First it was like, well, I'll be honest, like I was lazy. Lazy is probably the best way to put it, right? So I would go to like Walmart, and I would go buy like a can of soup and a box of saltines, and well, more than one can. I wouldn't go every day, but I would get soup and the saltines and whatever, and that would be my lunch, like a whole can of soup. And I was fine with it and whatever. But read that label of soup. Go read that label of chunky soup, and it's like 300 calories per serving, but there's like 3 servings in the can. So I'm like sitting there at a desk, and I'm moving, and I'm eating like 1,000 calories. And it's not good calories either. It's like, fine, sure, you're filled whatever, but it's horrible calories. You're just sitting there and it's no good for you, and there's so much bad, right? So I got a little bit serious about that, and I started doing like Weight Watchers meals again because it was, they were, I don't even want to say they were cheap, but they were easy, convenient. You grab a bunch, throw them in the freezer, you nuke them, and, you eat them. You're still hungry at the end of it, but you're on that plan. And things like that. And I did, I was going for what I call caloric certainty. I like to be able to grab something that I knew was going to be, a decent lunch. I wasn't going to be starving myself, but I knew, like, I'll be honest, like I had like granola bars and raisin packs, little snack packs of raisins, and I knew that I could have like 6 or 8 of those a day, any combination of those two items, at about 600 or 800 calories, because it was 100 calories a pop. And I knew that if I spread it out, like, I'd be fine. I could eat my lunch and I'd be good. And, started really making sure that like at 7, 8 o'clock, I stopped eating junk food. That was one of my biggest problems, to be honest. And over the last year or so, I got back into that bad habit where I would sit at night, my family would go to sleep, and I'd be up watching TV, sports, wrestling, in case, go figure, wrestling with Wi-Fi, and I watch wrestling, movies, YouTube, whatever. And I would grab, the big box, the big warehouse stores, the big chocolate chip cookies. I'd grab a stack of Oreos or candy or whatever. But I'm eating it at 9 o'clock. I'm eating it at 10 o'clock. It's the last thing I'm doing, and I'm going to bed like an hour later, and it's bad enough when you just do that, right? But then you start looking at the calories and you're like, holy cow. Like, I wouldn't eat a bowl. I wouldn't even eat a scoop of cereal. I would eat a bowl, like a cereal bowl full of cereal with whipped cream and the sprinkles and all that. Admittedly, horrible idea. And so it was very easy to see, once you started looking at the calories, why and how the weight was getting put on, and how, like, no matter what I was doing, I had to shift that before anything could happen, right? So, I had a couple friends. I think Brian Smith was along for the ride with me. He used a different app, but I found an app called Lose It, which is, there is a free version and there's like a subscription version. Free version is pretty easy. The neat thing is you can put it in and say, I want to lose, 2 pounds a week, or I want to be at a certain goal weight, and when can I do it? And it would generally give you, like, hey, if you really are going to be, like, aggressive about it, not unhealthy aggressive, but, like, aggressive, like, I'm going to be working out, and I'm going to be really vigilant about watching what I eat, and really, really hold myself to the diet. If you lose a healthy 2 pounds a week, you can get to your goal weight on X date. Sorry for that. So, that's pretty nice. I liked it. And that's what I used. Really and truly, that's what I got to use. And I'll admit that was part of why I wanted that quote-unquote caloric certainty, because it was an easy snack. It was an easy meal. I could put it in there. And it was just, I knew exactly what it was going to add up to. The nice thing is it ties in with your Apple Watch. As you do exercise, it has a minimum activity target for the day. And then as you do exercise, once you exceed the minimum target, you get quote-unquote bonus calories. So, say you want to lose 80 pounds. It's going to say, okay, I start today. I want to lose 80 pounds. I can reach my goal weight of losing 2 pounds a week by like July. And you get like 2,400 calories or whatever. And I'm guessing. I have it in front of me, but I'm not reading it. But it gives you a target calories per day. And if you're actually honest and you actually adhere to it, and you're eating good calories and or under what your goal of your target is, you can actually do it in some ways. I'm not a big fan of saying that you can do it without the diet, or rather without the exercise, but you can. I mean, like I said, like starting at about 330 pounds, the big chunk of it, because I was terrified I was going to get on the treadmill and break it because I was just that fat, and I didn't want to do it because I didn't have the money to replace it. But the first, I would say 20 or 30 pounds at least, was pure and simple from dietary changes and from stopping myself from doing the late night snacks. I would really be fighting myself, but I got to the point where, like, 7, 8 o'clock, that's it. I'm done. Like, I can have a drink, and my drinks are basically flavored seltzer water from Walmart is my one vice. My Diet or Mountain Dew Zero is my other, and water. That's it. And, they're sugar-free or no sugar, which, I mean, people are going to talk to you about the aspartame and all that, and then there's probably some stuff there. The seltzer has it in it. I like it. It's sweet, whatever. I've got a sweet tooth, and I don't hate me for it. But again, there's 0 calories. So no empty calories with that. And that would be my thing. I would shut down. I would not eat breakfast, which, you can go either way with that. I was actually basically doing a modified keto fast without knowing I was doing a keto fast. I wasn't completely going keto fast because I was eating granola bars, which is definitely not on the keto diet. But I call it fasting. Forget about keto. So that was my thing, right? And it worked for most of my weight loss, right? Like I said, I started at 330. I got to about 200, maybe a little bit under 200, right before the pandemic. I was probably at about 195-ish. I remember I hit 200 in October of 2019, 2019. I was coming home from a cutover in Indiana for a warehouse, and I weighed myself, and I was like 199.8 or something like that. So, but then I did get down to 175, 178, somewhere about there. But that last 25, 30 pounds was tough. Well, first of all, I had lost a lot of the fat. I didn't gain tone or anything like that, but I'd lost a lot of the fat. And I had done everything I could, or a lot of what I could. And that's when I got into the keto side of things. I got a little bit more aggressive. Brian Smitty had talked to me. He's like, maybe you should try keto. I know a lot of people that kind of kickstarted things. And that's when I looked at it and said, like, I mean, and this part, the keto part, was definitely during the pandemic, because I'm sitting there not commuting, and instead of commuting, I'm on the treadmill for an hour, or I was on the bike for, 45 minutes, and I was doing like hard workouts. I mean, I'm coming like t-shirt soaked, I'm drenched. I definitely put I wasn't just doing like a lollygag and 3, I was doing like 6.5, 7 mile an hour pace. I was doing nice, good runs. Excuse me. But then I was also eating for lunch like 3 bowls of cereal, because I'm a sucker for cereal. And then whole caloric certainty, because 3 bowls was like 300 or 400 calories or whatever. And I'm like, all right, this is no big deal. But the reality is 3 or 4 bowls of cereal, whatever it was, my favorite was Life or, something like that. It's a ton of carbs. It's more carbs than you should be eating in a day. And when I got into the keto side of it, I'm like, well, I got to get rid of the cereal. Cereal's gone. And started getting into more of that. That hard work, because I sat there to a point, and I'm like, I'm not killing myself, right? I'm doing like an hour or 2 on the treadmill a day. Like I was doing an hour in the morning, half hour at night, doing some weight training, stuff like that. And I'm basically just treading water. I'm maintaining the weight, which I'm happy to have maintained it. And I wish in the last year I was happy maintaining the weight, but I'm like, I'm doing enough that I should be losing weight. So obviously the answer has to be that I'm putting something in that I shouldn't be. Enter keto, you look at, holy crap, I'm putting in a lot of carbs. That's got to stop, right? So did that, and like I said, I lost the next 20 some odd pounds. It was great. I was happy. Had a major life event. Lost a family member in November rather of 2020, and as everybody tends to do, they send care packages of lots of junk food, not junk food, but you get the heavy food, the dense food, the carb heavy food, the stuff that you really should not be eating a lot of. And of course you get a lot of it, and that's all that's around the house. And I just fell off the wagon hard. It was the wrong time of year to do that. You get Christmas and then all the holidays and everything else. It was bad. And unfortunately for myself, the willpower kind of got sucked out of me, and it's so easy to fall into those bad habits again. And so I'm here, I talked about it. This is, getting a little bit more extensive about it, but this has been a really, I'm proud to say, a good week for me, because I basically, it's been hard, right? It's been hard for me. I can admit it, because even along, the last year or so, I had some personal health issues. Those closest to me know exactly what may or may not have been going on. I don't even know. But it made it hard to work out. It was, some days were good, some days were bad. Fortunately, I seem to have turned a corner, which is good. And so I'm back doing that. Although I'll admit I'm back on the Peloton, whatever you want to call it, the bike. And this will be the first week in, I can't even tell you how long, I'd have to look at the app, that I've actually worked out every morning. Now, admittedly, that's still a bit of a, it's a misleading thing for me, right? So when I was at my peak, like I said, I would do 30 to 40 minutes on the treadmill, or I would do 30 to 40 minutes on the bike. I would usually do like a 30 or 45 minute timed ride. And for the treadmill, I usually got on with at least either a mileage target or a calorie burn target, based on what the watch was telling me. That was usually my target. And the only time I would stop short of a target is if work called. And then ultimately, a lot of the time, if work called or I had an interruption from family, I would get back on at night. Even if it was a 10 or 15 minute run or a 10 or 15 minute ride, I would do something at night to make up for that lost time. Maybe you want to call me obsessive, that's fine. It worked for me. But so for this will be the first week, probably, I want to say, since maybe the spring of this year, maybe even longer. And I kind of want to look, that I've done a full week, right? If I get on the bike tomorrow, which I should, it'll be the first time in that long. So it's a milestone for me in that I'm getting back in the saddle. It's still not where I need to be, because at the end of the day, my workouts this week have only been 10 or 15 minutes. And like I said, I was doing 30 and 45. And so not at all close to what I was doing, but it's progress. And I'm happy with, having some progress. So I'm not going to complain about having some progress. But that's, it takes a lot, right? It's a lot to get back in the saddle, but I'm happy because, so ultimately, getting into a little bit, it's been a good week. I'm hoping it continues to be good weeks. And I hope this is just the start of my next run towards losing the weight. So, like I said, I fell off the wagon hard, and I reset my lose it goals, because again, you can achieve your goal, and then once you get it, you can set a new goal. So what has happened for me was I gained a lot of the weight back. I didn't gain all of it back. I've had some comments from some people that were a little bit mean and said, "Oh, you've probably gained it all back." I have not. Like I said, it was 330 when I was at my heaviest, but maybe 325. We'll call it 330, because until I really got serious about it, I hadn't been weighing myself at all. I am 274.2 pounds as of this morning. I was 277 pounds on Monday. So now, of course, when I said it a couple weeks ago and I was going to kick it off again, I was at 270. So obviously I slipped up before I came back and kicked my butt. But here I am. Right. So we're back at it. And so what I think I'm going to do, even though this is a rambling rant of my weight loss history a little bit and whatnot, is try to do an episode, even if it's a shorter one every week. And it might not really, it'll count in the episode count on the pod site and all that, but try to throw one out there and says, look, this is how I'm doing. So this week, 274.2 pounds. I'm down a couple pounds. I'm hoping that I check in again next week, on Thursday, on Friday, whenever I record the episode, and I can sit there and say I'm at 272 or 271 or whatever. And this is sort of another additional step for me to keep myself a little bit more honest and a little bit more focused. And because I really don't want to have to go back and delete an episode that says I'm down to 274 and I want to get to 272 by next week, because instead of 272, I'm at 278. I don't want to see 278 again. I don't want to see 280 again. The reality is, some of the things, and I know this has happened to people, we've all gained weight during the pandemic. I was really good for a lot of it without gaining weight. I actually lost weight or maintained. But what killed me was, I got I had to get the suitcase out. I went to a WLPC in February, and all the nice clothes that I had bought, I'm like, okay, this is not going to fit. But it was really bad how badly it fit. And I had no clothes. I had to buy clothes. Thank God I checked my closet, weeks ahead of time and had time to order them. But then, to kind of prove the point of how bad I had been and how just slacking I was, I went for a business meeting in August, which is 6 months or so removed from WLPC. And the new clothes that I bought for Phoenix, once again, did not fit me. And I had to go and buy additional new clothes to fit me for my business trips. So now I have clothes that used to fit me a while ago, clothes that used to fit me 6 months ago, and clothes that should still fit me now for my ongoing business trips. So my goal is to kind of fit into what I wore to Phoenix last year for Phoenix in February of 2023, and for any future conferences after that, like Phoenix 2024, get back into those clothes that I fit into for Phoenix it would have been 2020 if I had actually gone. But I'm trying to do it right. I'm trying to do it healthy. And, there's a bunch of stuff out there. There's a bunch of different resources. Chris Avance got me into the Hacking Health Discord, which is Dave Kennedy's thing. And it's a whole bunch, you're hacking your health, right? You're learning. I haven't gotten into it yet, so I can't speak. I'm not an expert. Chris is going to, I think, talk about it at WPC. Maybe I should have him on and we can talk about it a little bit more. But the idea is and even with what I did before, if I had not fallen off the wagon, if I had not lost that willpower that had been driving me for years, and really it was like a 2 or 3 year journey for me, which is really disappointing when I say it out loud and go, crap, man, I just gave up, or I lost it, or whatever. you need to find something that works. You need to find something that works for you. What works for me is not necessarily going to be what works for you. What works for you might not work for me. Everybody's a little bit different, and it's your mission to find that balance, that trick, that thing that works for you. What can you do that is, I don't want to say easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to have to be a little bit hard. But if it's good for you, it could feel easy. It might be, oh my God, I look at that and go, I can't do that. Like, I know these people that, that they got up and they make their smoothies and their shakes or whatever, and they're like, I love it. I mean, no, it's not for me, right? It's just not something I want to do. But that's the point, right? If it's something you want to do, you're going to find a way to make it work, and it's going to become a routine for you, and you're going to make it work, and it's going to be easy, quote unquote easy, air quotes here. You can't see them on a podcast, but you have to find it. What works for your life, what works for your work-life balance, whatever you want to call it. Get into that routine, and whether it's the Hack Your Health Discord and their system, and they're everybody's doing it and you can get ripped. If it's you join a running club or a biking club, or you have your spouse or your kids or whatever, and you go riding or you go running on a daily basis, or you go hiking, you find what works for you, and you just need to stick with it, and you make incremental changes. It doesn't happen overnight. It's incredibly sad and frustrating. It's one of those things with I think with weight and with debt. It's very easy. It's incredibly easy how fast you can gain weight. Most people. I know there are people out there going, damn it, I wish I could gain weight. For somebody like me, it's incredibly easy to gain weight. I can sit there and eat ice cream. I can eat junk food. I can eat pizza. I can eat, and I'll gain a ton of weight in a week. Not great, but it's possible, and I've unfortunately done it. When I was really in my worst, I was going up way too fast, and it was just scary, and that's why I like stretchy pants. It's also really, really easy to put yourself in debt. You can slam down that credit card and buy that brand new MacBook, and all of a sudden you're like $3,000 in debt, and you're like, holy cow, where'd that go? And it's like, well, I'm going to pay $100 a month, and then you realize, well, that's going to take me like 30 years to pay it off or whatever. Maybe not 30 years, but you get the idea. It's really easy to put yourself in a bad position, weight, debt, whatever, and it's a lot harder to get out. It takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of hard work. It's not an overnight solution. Weight loss, debt, any of it. It's not an overnight solution, so it's not something you want to get frustrated with. And so I put this out there before. I don't have a Discord. I don't have a Slack group or anything like that. I'm on Wi-Fi. I'm on Wi-Fi. Of course I'm on Wi-Fi. I'm on Twitter at Wi-Fi_John, or the Wi-Fi Wrestling Twitter handle. Tweet me, DM me, whatever. We can get a group going. We can do a group chat, a group text. I don't care. But if you're one of those that needs a support system, and you think that a support system with a bunch of other people that listen to a show about wrestling and Wi-Fi could help you, keep you on the honor system, keep you on the up and up, and help you lose 10, 20, 50, 100 pounds, whatever you want to lose, then yeah, hit me up and let's do it, right? This is my way of keeping myself honest this time around, right? I'm going to do my best. I had a couple of days this week where I really didn't want to do it, but I'm like, can't do it, not quitting, not giving up. And then you step on that scale and it shows it's worthwhile. And of course, then this afternoon I had a Krispy Kreme. Don't hate me, don't hate the player, hate the game. But anyways, it's baby steps, right? It's not going to happen overnight. And then the other point, and then I'm going to wrap it up because we're getting to be about that time. Don't lose weight because you think you have to. If you are happy with where you are, whether you're 150 pounds or 250 pounds or 550 pounds, if you're happy where you're at, be happy with who you are. Now, if you're 550 pounds, unless you're like 8 feet tall, you're probably not healthy. And that's not me being a judgment person as a doctor. I'm not a doctor at all. But that's just reality. The weight on your heart, the lungs, the joints, it's not good for you. My weight, I wasn't that heavy, and I'm not that heavy now, but I know. I mean, I can feel it, that plus my age, and I'm starting to feel the creaks and the getting up in the morning sucks, and it doesn't take much to pull a muscle. But, be healthy, be happy, right? At the end of the day. And if you're not happy, then reach out, find a friend. I mean, there's plenty of people in the wireless community. Like I mentioned, Chris with Hacking Health, Dave Kennedy on the InfoSec side. You look at the WLPCs, and there's running groups and yoga groups, and there's all sorts of people that are into the fitness. It's not me. It's everybody. There's a lot of people out there that are in similar boats or similar mindsets. Reach out. Make a friend if you're not already a friend. Make a friend and see, let's get motivated. Let's help each other out and let's get healthier, because a healthy Wi-Fi engineer is a happy Wi-Fi engineer, especially when you're doing, a 30,000 square foot warehouse. So that's kind of my point. Be happy, find your path, figure out what works for you. If what I did works for you too, that's great. I'm happy to be that person to help give you some support and encouragement. If what I did is totally not what will work for you, that's fine too. This is going to work for you. I'm not going to be up here pontificating. I'm not going to be on the lectern pounding the pulpit and going, this is going to be what everybody has to do. This is going to work. Nope. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a physician. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I'm just somebody who's been struggling with weight basically all of my life. When I really look at it, I've been a chubby kid, off and on. I've dieted and lost weight. I've dieted and lost weight. I've gained it back. So this has been part of my life. At the end of the day, it's just what I know. It's something else I'm going to be dealing with. Hopefully, I can eventually kick it. I thought the last time was going to be it, and I was wrong. So maybe this time, maybe it's just a constant battle, and I just kind of have to be wrestling with it, which is going to be perfectly fine for this particular website. I'll just continue to wrestle with the weight as well as with my Wi-Fi. So, with that said, I think we're going to call it a night. We're getting close to the 30-minute mark, and I'm trying to keep everything under 30 minutes for those of you who are so kind as to give me some of your time and listen. But so with that said, again, Wi-Fi_John at Twitter, Wi-Fi Wrestling at Twitter. Either one works. Come, DM me, say hi. If you want to do something, I can certainly investigate a Discord or a Slack group, or we'll just see if Mr. Kennedy will let us all into his Hacking Health Discord and, get some moral support, get some goals out there, put it out there. I think if you tweet it out, or you're doing like me and putting on a podcast for everybody to hold you to it, I don't want to show up in Phoenix in February and go, people are going to be like, dude, you're still 270. I want to step in there at, I was 240 in February of 2022. I'm hoping I can be back to 240 for February 2023. If I can be under that, that's great. But, that's 30 plus pounds in like 3 months. That's basically right at the outer limits of it. So we'll see. But with that, we're going to hit the outro music, and we are going to say good night or good day or whatever. And, stay healthy, stay happy, make some good Wi-Fi. And this match is over.